So here's our studio at Gaijin Games. Over here we've got our office where we work, and this is what I call the mullet. So this is the business up front kind of section, and then over there is the party in back. So we've separated our desks and stuff so that we can kind of focus and do a lot of work. One thing that we like to do here at Gaijin Games is have a lot of fun, but we also plug in and do some serious work. And so this kind of helps that out.
Hey guys, it's Ben with design3 here, and I'm at Gaijin Games talking to Alex Neuse, CEO. So how did you first get started playing video games, and what were some of your favorite games to play growing up?
Playing video games, I guess, I think the first video game I ever played was probably Pac-Man at a cocktail table in the pizza factory near where I grew up. And that was probably my first exposure, but then a friend of mine had just the sweetest setup ever. His dad worked for a microchip company or something, and so his dad and all of his colleagues would buy an Atari game, and then they would crack it open and they would pirate it, physical microchip, copies. And so this buddy had a modded Atari 2600, and you would take the chip and you would plug it into the thing and lock it down, and they had, I'm sure they didn't have every game, but they may as well have. They had hundreds of Atari games, so we would just sit there and play Atari all the time. But I didn't have my own game system until I was about 13. I just used his. So that's how we played.
So we're here in Santa Cruz, California. How did you guys kind of end up here?
I guess it basically was because the three people who started the company together here, this is where we met. So I ended up in Santa Cruz because there was a job at a small independent game development studio that I got hired at. And then the other two guys who started Gaijin Games with me in 2008, they were also at that same company. And then we all left that company for our own reasons. I took some time off. I was a little bit burnt out after so many years of really long hours in the industry. And when I got back from that time off, I found that these two dudes had quit. And we all got together, and I said, I've been wanting to start this company for several years now. It's kind of a dream of mine, and would you guys be interested in helping me out? And that's how it happened. So we were all here already. We just got an office space and went for it. We didn't know what we were doing. We just did it.
Right.
Yeah.
So what is a typical day of work like for you guys here?
A typical day, I guess, is, we get in relatively early in the morning. We work pretty non-stop after we have our morning meeting. So the team gets together every morning and does a scrum, kind of a situation where we talk about what we did yesterday, what we're going to do today, that kind of stuff. And then after that, we kind of put our headphones on, plug in, and work really hard. Lunch happens. We come and sit at this table and play games or make fun of each other, and, goofy stuff. Sometimes we'll play some video games. I don't know. We do work a lot harder, I think, than a lot of people who are a lot of indie game developers. And I don't know whether that's good or bad. What's our quality of life like? I don't know. But we take our work very seriously, but we also do have fun here.
And can you talk a bit about why you chose to make music-based games?
Parappa the Rapper totally changed my life.
Right.
I never really thought that there was such a thing as music rhythm games, and then this Parappa the Rapper came out, and I saw posters and artwork of it, and I thought it looked like crap, and I was just thinking, oh, what have video games come to? Right. So I bought it, sort of out of protest. I'm going to play this game, and I'm going to hate it, and I'm going to see what's going on, and it just blew my mind. It was so amazing. That game is so good, and it started me on this crazy love affair with rhythm-based games. And so when I was at LucasArts, I was pitching rhythm-based games. When I was at Activision, I was pitching rhythm-based games. When I was, every time I had a job, I was like, well, let's make a music game. Come on, let's make a music game. And then finally, I guess I got fed up with not having creative freedom at any of the jobs I was at. And so that's kind of leads back into why I founded Gaijin Games, was because I wanted total creative freedom. So then we started the company, and by God, I'm making a music game. And so that's how we started making music games. But that's not our only shtick. I don't think we'll make any more music rhythm games after the Bit Trip series. Well, we might, but it's not our main thing.
Right.
Yeah.
And can you talk about a little bit about the kind of old school retro style for the graphics and the chiptunes music and why you guys did that?
Yeah, definitely. The biggest reason that we did it was because we were only 3 dudes when we started, and it was basically out of necessity. We basically said, okay, so what could we make? And we only have about 3 months to make it. And we want to be on consoles. So that's a tall order for a console game and for your first game while you're building a business and everything, right? So we needed to make the game as simple as possible. So we settled on this idea of Pong, or actually a suite of sort of retro-styled gameplay games. And I designed out all the concepts for all 6 Bit Trip games, plus some others that are pretty cool. And I wonder, we may make them eventually, who knows. But the core series was these 6 games, these very simple mechanics. And because of that simplicity, we felt that the art style had to match. We felt that the music had to match. And that's how we fell into this whole retro thing, which I think was really great. And it's a very strong and purposeful artistic direction for the series. So that's how that happened. It was basically, we need to keep things as simple as possible.
Cool, and that kind of leads into my next one. Can you talk about the influence of Pong on games like Bit Trip Beat that you've done?
Yeah, I mean, I guess so. I love Pong so much. If you are sitting down with a Pong player who's equal in skill to you, and you're good. I guess if you're both really bad, then it's not as fun. But if you're both good, you can get really long volleys going, and that game gets so tense, and it's nothing. It's 2 paddles and a square ball, and it gets super tense, and it's fun. We have it here at the office, so we play it every now and then. And so I think the thing that influenced me most with Pong was not the nuts and bolts of the gameplay, like, oh, we've got to have a paddle over here and the balls do this, but rather the more esoteric notion that you can have fun with total simplicity. And I think the best games that have ever been made focus on that kind of a nugget, like Tetris, Pong. Gosh, I don't know what else, but I'm sure that the first, like, pole position, the first racing games, it was just, you're doing this, that's all you're doing, let's have some fun. And that's very inspiring to me.
What is the current game project you're working on here?
Oh boy, we have so many things going on right now at Gaijin Games. Of course, we still have the last installment of the Bit Trip series, Bit Trip Flux, which should be coming out soon, maybe within the next 3 weeks, I want to say. So that project is finishing up. Then we are also working on a super secret, can't tell you anything about it, 3DS project. So hopefully we'll hit within the launch window of the Nintendo 3DS. And then we're working on branching out a little bit. So we're going to start doing new games for the PC, the Mac, the iOS devices, just kind of like figuring out exactly where we want to find our home.
So if you had to sum up video game design and development in just one word, which word would that be?
Hard.
That's a good one. And then, so this is a final question. This is half joking, but also half serious. To the best of your knowledge, has anyone ever had a seizure while playing any of your games?
We hope so.
That's
not really. They actually have a seizure machine that has seizures for people. So when we submit our games, they plug it into the seizure machine, and they point the seizure machine at it. I don't know exactly how it works, and it determines if people will have seizures. And we've failed the seizure machine. We had to change our games. So we are pretty confident that nobody's dying from these games.
Right.
But if we hadn't taken evasive action, they may have.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, thanks a lot for your time.
Well, thank you for coming over.
Yeah,
it was good talking with you.